The desire for respect and to safeguard those you love, as well as how occasionally ego and human nature blur the line between the two, are themes that Snowfall repeatedly returns to. After suffering more losses than they could have ever anticipated as a result of their acts, Franklin, Teddy, and Gustavo remain prepared to battle to the last end. We've all been carrying too much weight for a long time. Also, as Franklin informs Gustavo, it cannot be in vain. The day has finally come for Gustavo, Franklin, Teddy, the D, and the KGB to seal their fate because each individual party's future depends on the approaching drop between Teddy and the Colombians. This has been planned and prepared for weeks. Gustavo is trusted by both the D and the KGB to point them in the direction of proof that the CIA has been trafficking drugs and weapons to support American political objectives. Franklin also needs Teddy's location in order to recover his lost funds and exact his last act of retaliation. They are more dependent on one another than ever now that time is running out and the drop date has arrived. Gustavo has been going through it, to put it mildly. He is losing his family while facing charges from 3 distinct government entities, one of which isn't even from the nation in which he currently resides. He has been searching for a way out the entire season, and Franklin has promised to provide one if Franklin can just get him to Teddy. Naturally, the KGB and D both want to find Teddy and have given Gustavo a way out. But which organization would you trust more, the government or Franklin? Gustavo places his trust in Franklin, goes to Jerome's dinner, and receives the cash and passports just as I would. Franklin muses on how, after everything he's been through, he's failed to protect the ones he loves after fulfilling his end of the bargain with Gustavo. He has yet to ensure a solid future for Sissy, Veronique, and his unborn kid. As a result of his actions, his uncle passed away and Melanie lost her life to crack addiction. Yet Franklin has a strategy because he is as tactical and practical as a military leader. The fact that Louis is necessary to make it happen is the sole drawback. It is intended for Louis to continue to cooperate with Teddy so that she can deliver Franklin to him. Till Gustavo arrives, they will permit Louis, Franklin, and Teddy to speak face to face before killing Teddy. They must beat Franklin to look like there was a battle to kidnap him in order to make it plausible. Although Scully is assisting, he lets Louis handle the honors. Louis is eventually freed from Scully, and they tie him up before placing him in the trunk where Teddy is waiting. Gustavo must perform his duties for the D in the interim. Tony Marino, the D agent in charge of the assignment, is skeptical of Gustavo due to his panicked demeanor and growing silence. He points out that at this time, most persons in Gustavo's situation typically start asking questions regarding the following steps and their safety. Gustavo obviously doesn't have to worry about any of that as he's using Franklin's resources to escape after everything is said and done. They send Amanda, another D agent, along with Gustavo for the drop because of their suspicions. Despite the fact that the drop with the Colombians goes off without a hitch, Gustavo's cavalier demeanor and improper jest about Amanda working for the D raise even more red flags. In a sorrowful scene, Gustavo said Xiomara farewell earlier in the day while gifting his nephews 2 of his luchador masks, indicating that he had plans apart from those of the D. She reports back to her supervisor, and they decide to check in on Xiomara and discover that they've already left. Gustavo becomes bitten by this information. To see Teddy is scheduled. Tony travels with Gustavo, but when it becomes evident that Teddy won't be there, they detain Gustavo. In order to carry out the plan and inform Teddy that they have Franklin, Gustavo pages Franklin to let him know he is on his way to Teddy before Gustavo is caught. Teddy now veers off the course and instructs Louis to deliver Franklin alone and take off without waiting for Teddy to arrive. Franklin isn't too concerned because he will be okay as long as Gustavo shows up, regardless of whether Louis is there or not. Franklin is left at the warehouse by Louis and Scully and is chained up there for several hours. In an unexpected change of events, Ruben, who has been spying on Gustavo, intercepts and murders all of the policemen as Gustavo is being detained by the D, releasing Gustavo. He yanks Gustavo out of the car and claims he's taking him to finish the assignment because he knows Franklin is at the warehouse with Teddy. Teddy has Franklin balance on a metal trash can or else he would fall and hang himself from the ceiling by the neck. As usual, Franklin makes a last-ditch effort to talk himself out of it, but Teddy is unaffected. Teddy makes a deadly mixture that will kill Franklin and a barrel of chemicals that will cause his body to crumble. Before he can inject it, Gustavo and Ruben suddenly enter the room, and chaos ensues. Franklin cries out to be freed from his noose, but Ruben orders Gustavo to chain Teddy to a forklift and doesn't listen to him. Ruben tells Gustavo to bring him Teddy's secret weapon, but fights back, showing us what a superb wrestler he is. Teddy believes Gustavo is still on his side as he turns his back on Ruben before at the last second freeing Franklin. Gustavo asks his pal, "So what do you want to do, Mordo?" as Teddy desperately tries to persuade him to remain on the Sia's side. Teddy in their possession, the powerful couple is back on top. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more videos in return.